Dude, that's
Hi, good
perfect.
afternoon. I'm Carmen. Thanks so much for joining
Yeah.
us today.
I'm not sure if you've met Carmen yet, right? It's only me on the Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. And this is Hector.
I'm not going to speak, y'all.
They're with the CUNY school that'll be presenting for this meeting.
Wonderful. Apologies that we're late. We got a little bit
No, not you.
confused, but thanks for being patient and waiting for us.
Sweet. So the good news about this is that we'll be able to have a good in-depth conversation about what you're gonna do and like what the next steps are to help you guys out. The other good news about that is that when it comes, if there's something that we need to like take an action on for the general board meeting, get the board's approval to do something, it should be a pretty easy sail through. And if anyone ever has any questions about it, we usually tell them refer to the recording. So there you go. So it'd be awesome. If you guys want, come up to the, oh, but you guys are manning the station.
Yeah, it's just
Right. Okay, cool. No worries, no worries. Hey, Simati, you on there? Can you hear us, Simati? I was like, she might just be signing in right now. I'm going to come on camera and say, oh, okay, take your time, somebody. Cool. Well, then we have quorum, so we can get started. So I'm calling this meeting to order. It is the April meeting of the Cannabis Task Force. It is 6:34 p.m. And welcoming to our small, humble, yet effective committee and folks joining. We have a full committee, so we have quorum here. I think Mariam James is the only one that's not on here. But that's okay. That's 4 out of 5. That's perfect. And just as our reintroduction to the Cannabis Task Force, for folks that might be looking at this recording in the future, we are tasked with reviewing local cannabis dispensaries and other micro businesses and bringing their business to the board. After we approve the business on our committee, we then usher it through into the general board meeting, thereby giving our community check mark to the dispensary or micro business, which then increases their profile, not only with OCM, but also with our community board members or with our community members. So that's really what our task is here to do. Secondarily, our task is not only to have created the system by which we do that, but also maintain it and optimize it as we get back certain feedback from the market in terms of how, like, what the ease of these businesses are getting into our neighborhood and also the health of the community. So that's just our reintroduction. Today, we have the CUNY School of Public Health here with a cannabis survey that they have been activating in different localities to give us a little bit more understanding about what the community's understanding is of the cannabis market that's starting to burgeon in their local, in their streets. And they're going to be presenting to us today on what that is, what kind of support they need from us, and then we'll have like a more general discussion for it. Without a lot of public attendees here, what I might do is just promote everyone to a panelist, so that way you guys can ask questions if you want to. Cool, promote to panelist. Sweet. So with that, I will pass it on to the CUNY team. And again, your names one more time, please. I'm sorry.
Ariel Sella. Holdsmith.
Awesome. Ariel Holdsmith.
Ariel Sella.
Ariasella. Right. Thank you. Ariasella. Thank you. And Xavier. Thank you. Hey, Samadi, can you hear them on the microphone?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Good. So the audio is good, Ariasella. We are good. So jump on in and share us what you got for us.
Sure. We also have another team member who's on with us as well, Tamisha Hicks.
Hello, Tamisha. Good to see
Hi,
you.
everyone. Hi.
Cool.
Okay, so we'll get started. And I'll share screen first.
And for CUNY, is it like CUNY in general, or is there a particular CUNY school you guys are working out of?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So we are working out of the CUNY School of Public Health, which is the graduate school of public health for the CUNY system. It's also the only public institution of public health in New York City.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
That's just that we're trying to really make sure that we are working alongside community and part of the fabric of the community and not just situated.
Excellent.
And we're located off of 55 West 125th Street.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
And so we ourselves are part of the community engagement arm of the CUNY School of Public Health. So I'm the Health Equity and Literacy Program Officer. And Xavier is one of our fellows.
Cool.
Wanted to say your title, Tamisha?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tamisha. I'm the program manager for the Harlem Health Initiative, housed in CUNY School of Public Health.
Wow. Some super educated people here, folks. Fantastic.
Thank you, thank you. And so what we're looking at today, what we're about to share is part of our Cannabis Equity Collaborative. So the work that we're doing is really twofold. There's a couple of different pieces, but in relation to how we're hoping to collaborate with you all, we are taking a look at a survey, which assesses the knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs, perceptions around cannabis use, how legislation is impacting our communities, things like that. And then we also are working on a mapping project to kind of map out the priority locations, including schools, house of worship, liquor stores, all of that. This has already been in the works in community boards 9, 10, and 11.
Right.
And so what you will see today that I'm about to share with the survey is the survey itself. The information will be changed to be specific to CD12. So all the places that you see Harlem, different zip codes, all of that, that'll all be shifted. But otherwise, the general structure of it is the same, but we do want to make sure that we have your feedback and that we've taken a look at it as, partners in this conversation and in this process.
Cool.
So, I'm gonna share the screen.
All right. We can see it.
Can everyone see this?
Yeah, we can see it right here. Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, so the start to this includes an introduction about the survey, just so folks know kind of what they're getting into. Just talking, just briefly about the type of questions that will be asked, and giving folks an opportunity to consent to the process, some transparency about the research, and again, changing the location names to be specific. And then
these are just screener questions here in the beginning.
Just screener questions, like, do you live in the
Right.
things like that. And then, so all of this actually takes place digitally. So that's why you'll see things like, I'm not. But there are paper surveys as well. Some folks do prefer to take paper surveys. So I have sat down with people personally to help them take some. And if that's preferred, then that's what we do. But otherwise, it can be done digitally. The beginning talks about knowledge about cannabis laws. So about legal limit possession, about licensed stores, outlets.
So in your questions about the outlets, that doesn't distinguish between the licensed legal or unlicensed illegal. Okay, got it. Okay, cool.
Not specifically in this section. Later on, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then here, when it talks about outlets in communities, now we're focusing more specifically on the license shops, and then again, assessing the beliefs, perceptions around the license dispensaries. So for example, on this scale of strongly agree to strongly disagree, government regulation of licensed dispensaries make sure that cannabis products sold are safe for people who use them. Just asking the question to assess where folks are at in terms of whether they agree with statements. And so then continuing with the strongly agree, strongly disagree statements. Yeah, this is an extended question just on those statements. Is it more useful to scroll slower? Let me know.
No, we're getting this. No, we're reading it. Yeah.
Okay. And then getting into, for example, how important is it to you that the owners are Black/African American, Hispanic, Latino, and then again, with the scale of very important to not important, we don't know, we're not answered. About preference for licensure. And then also questions about how important is it to you that the owners of Harlem Cannabis are people with a prior cannabis-related criminal offense, also known as legacy. And so again, getting to the impact of legislation and policy on our communities and how people feel about that. I think there's so much to be said. And then also getting into unlicensed outlets. There are questions about those as well, similar to the licensed shops.
Can we see the unlicensed questions for a second for that one in particular? Because that's the majority of the questions that we get from the community. This is lead to increasing crime, increasing number of drivers, important unlicensed cannabis dispensary communities, especially harmful unlicensed cannabis. See one pregnant people, being more potent smoking public, economic benefits, provide economic benefits. Question for you to add one in there too. If they strongly agree that unlicensed cannabis dispensaries decrease crime in the neighborhood, because one of the things that I've been, telling people that we've seen is the gray market brought out a black market, and the black market brought certain crimes with it that, like breaking and entering, things like that, that now, I'm not gonna say they don't exist, but they are less because of the gray market. And that's why there's been like this, I guess, happy medium between the cops' enforcement of the gray markets before we had a process of legally rolling these dispensaries out. And like, and when we actually have a system to do so now, where they're gonna start cracking down on them. But there was a benefit for, like, there was a small silver lining to this. Did you have would you mind adding a question like that in there? Because I'd also like to see if people even know that, because it's always like, bad on the gray market, but there was a reason for it. So just for your consideration.
Oh, yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
We should do.
Yeah.
Are you here for Cannabis Task Force or Traffic and Transportation? Other room. Yep. All right, sorry, go ahead. I think I'm good on these though, with the rest of the unlicensed portion, yeah.
So I have a question, guys. Sorry.
Go for it.
So I really love the survey. I know the audio is a bit far from where you are, but we can still hear you. But I think just for clarity and for the public here, what is this information going to be used for? Or was it going to feed into? Is there going to be something to follow this survey, or is it more for CUNY informational purposes on the impact in the community or the community sentiment?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. Continue.
Sorry. Then just one quick follow-up, just to Noble's point about some questions, suggestions that we have as a board. Is that something that you're open to, like a collaborative, edits type of suggested edits, I would say? But that's it. That's all I have.
Yes, no, thank you for asking that question. So the importance of this information is really to make sure that you have, when you are having conversations, when you're having discussions, when you're considering policy, that there's an awareness of what the community is thinking, feeling, perceiving. So we really intend to have this information helpful for y'all and the work that you do.
Okay.
And so we always report back. The goal is really just to have something that says, okay, this is what people are thinking, this is what people are saying and feeling. Because people don't always ask the community what they are feeling and what the perceptions are around this. And as we know that there's so much contention around cannabis legislation, and especially with the historical impact on our communities, really taking the time to have these conversations with people just so that we know where folks are at as decisions are being made, as conversations are being had. So the primary focus really is so that this information is useful for you.
So it's gonna be a tool of the board, basically. Will there be a public facing piece for the data that you guys get? So outside of the board tool and that we can use from the public, will there be a larger study you guys are kind of feeding into for the city? Yes, your hand's raised. You could probably answer that.
Yeah. This will answer both both of your questions. So this survey is a part of a larger research project that we're working on. It's a cannabis equity project. And so, like you said, it's to kind of first get neighborhood and community perceptions. And so that's why we work really closely with the community with these surveys. But also a piece of the project is tracking unlicensed and licensed dispensaries in the community boards in themselves. So what we do, last year, 2023, last year feels so long ago, but in 2023, what we did was we community board 9, 10, and 11. So Harlem. So we work with the community boards there, and we essentially work with our research partners and our students at CUNY SPH, as well as some people on the community boards of 9, 10, and 11. And we mapped all of the licensed, at that time, 2023, unlicensed dispensaries in Harlem. And so what we're hoping to do with this survey, as well as with those dispensaries, is to look at neighborhood cohesion over time. And so when we talk about cannabis legalization, we always talk about like it's supposed to be a positive thing, especially when we think about how New York State has put social equity at the forefront. And so what's supposed to look like is a positive impact on community cohesion in terms of like crime, in terms of like economics, like you said when you talked about like the gray market. And so on actually April 3rd, this Wednesday, we're going to have the first paper released on that specific project in terms of like crime and how it relates to the unlicensed dispensaries, not so much the causation, but the association between what's happened with crime or what's happened with crime and what's happened with the location of the unlicensed dispensaries. And so what the survey does is it kind of helps us really understand and concept about the locations of these dispensaries, as well as like the demographics of the area and the neighborhood and the community's perception of the area. So this survey itself goes into a larger study. The actual mapping and the maps of the unlicensed dispensaries, we have it kind of backed by NIH data, so we can't share the actual locations and the actual names and the actual addresses of those dispensaries, but we can talk about like the associations between the locations of these dispensaries, the density of these dispensaries, and their relationship to crime, their relationship to the economics in the community.
Cool.
So there won't be like specific data released, but there will be like papers and like an overall community understanding of what's happening.
It's the output of that data, whereas like the data we could use as a community board resource when we were, okay, I see. Gotcha. Cool. And then to our second question of like, I know like timing is a thing here because I think you guys are trying to get in market pretty quickly, but would you guys be open to a couple suggestions, a few suggestions for questions like the one that I had about the gray market thing? And when would you want those sent to you by?
As soon as possible, because then we would talk about, because we want to work with you all in terms of the release of the survey. So what we had Community Board 9, 10, and 11 do, they use their newsletters to promote having the community board take the surveys. And so we want to make sure this is also geared toward the specific community boards, because every community board is different, even though it's Harlem, 9, 10, and 11 are all different. And so they all need different things. And so 12 is different. So 12 would need different things. And so
we'll get to the distribution piece of it too at the end of this. Absolutely. We'll talk about that. Not a problem. Cool.
Is she done?
No, we're gonna keep going too. No, we were just tackling a couple things that'll make it faster for us in the end. But we can keep going down the survey if you want.
Good, thank you for the question.
So we've been through that.
More questions about the licensed dispensaries.
All right.
Legalization.
Okay.
Confidence you have of the law legalized adult use cannabis in New York will achieve the goal of positively impacting.
And we can keep going through. We can browse like we were before. Perception of keep it harms. Yep. That's 30 days. Okay. Doctor every day. So this is more tobacco. Okay. Interesting race in law enforcement. Do you know someone? Hold on a second. Like this one, we got like really good, but there we go. We are okay. Cool. All right. How much confidence do you have a problem if you cancel arrests? Interesting. Yeah, because we watching that.
And then update.
Yep. Go to the streets. Right. And this would be for your heat map piece, I believe, right?
Right.
Your home,
Then updating those charts.
Zip code,
How many years?
Okay, here come the demo questions. I was wondering where those were.
Yeah.
Cool.
Age, gender identity.
Cool.
Race.
How long do you see this survey taking when people take it? What's been the average time?
It takes about 7 to 10 minutes to take it. Depending.
7 to 10 minutes?
Yeah, cool. It depends. There are some like in terms of when we deal with our older populations, that's where the paper surveys come into play, and like takes a little bit more time, but typically youth to middle age.
Okay.
About 7 to 10 minutes.
And then education.
The crosstabs would be great on this. Nice. HHI. Very good.
Other information.
Cool.
Policy.
Are you a guardian parent person under the age of 18? Okay, good. Yeah, nice. That'll be good for the parents. Excellent. Cool. Well, looks like a very thorough survey. I'll go back through it again. You sent this to the office probably. We have this, right? We sent it anyway, even with the Harlem piece to it. I know you guys are going to localize it for us. So we at least like we can use this and like send you any questions we hope to have added or just like for your consideration. Any questions on the survey before we talk about the distribution and what it takes? Go for it, Hector.
Thank you so much for presenting this. One question I did have was,
Are there any incentives for having the communities sign up to complete the survey? And how would they be able to follow up with, I guess, once it is published, you follow up with the people who participated, digitally?
So in terms of incentive, there isn't a survey incentive, which
Right,
I know that, sometimes that changes things.
right.
We did speak with Catherine Diaz about, potentially having incentives tied to the mapping volunteering, which we can also talk about.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not-
I have a question.
And,
Oh,
just
sorry, you guys.
the
Yeah.
follow-up, how are you following up with
Mhm.
the people who participated? So let's say for CB 9, 10, 11 that you did work with, did you follow up with, I guess, the community and the overall results, or was it specific towards the community board and your larger project that you worked on, who got that proprietary data that you collected?
Yeah, and we always follow up and report back. Misha, do you want to share about how the reporting back process has looked with 9 to 11?
Or more so, is the information available to the people who participated post the aggregate of information?
You want me to repeat the question for you, Tamisha?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so basically the question is, how do you report back to the folks, the participants of the survey? Like knowing that, the community board, it's a data resource for us, and then the output you guys will have in reports. But for the folks that participated, the individuals, how do you usually report back to them on the results of the survey that they took part in? Oh, you went on mute.
I'm on mute.
There you
So
go.
typically we have what we're having on the 3rd, or just like the community events where we report back on like what we found. With the surveys in particular, they take a little bit longer in terms of, because it's a 43 question survey, so it takes a little bit longer to analyze. And so we won't release like all of the official data because of the sensitivity of it and the sensitivity of the topic. But in terms of like point analysts, in terms of like economics, in terms of like crime, we will update the community on that.
And we could
But
also
if-
come up with the time for you guys to come back and present to
Right.
us. And then that way you
Mhm.
guys can tell folks that are doing the survey, well, we're going to be back at so-and-so, date to
Right.
present to the board, and we can do that way too.
Okay,
Right.
And then we can just check box it off. You guys have it recorded. It's on YouTube now when you're here like this one. They can always
Right.
look back to it on recording.
And then
Yeah.
if there's certain like information that you all want specifically as a community board for your own purposes, in terms of like you creating your own things, those are things we can share with you all. But because it is still a research project and some of the data is still protected by the NIH, there's certain data that we can't share
course.
specifically with the community. But if there's like specific things that you all want, we could see if we could share with you all.
Cool. Carmen?
What has your reach been so far, and what's your outreach strategy? Like, are you just going to community boards and then hoping that the community board distributes it to like their members or people on newsletters? Are you going through other organizations? Are you walking down the street? Who are you partnering with to
That's a good
reach
question.
folks in our communities?
It's a mix of all of it. It's a community board. We partner with Harlem. We partner with Harlem Business Alliance, the Chamber of Commerce there, a few
That
other
makes sense.
nonprofits.
So-
Area Stella did outreach to like the assisted living homes for the older populations, because again, like it's digital and
great.
like everybody
Nice.
doesn't
Very
want digital
good.
things. So it's a mix of everything. We do tabling. During the summertime, when we had it in Harlem during the summertime for open streets, we had tables, and we like just went to the community events, like take the survey, scan the QR code. So it's a mix of all of it.
And what has your reach been so far? Do you have that number?
Like how many respondents?
Yeah, like in Harlem or whichever.
Yeah, actually, let me build on that question really quickly. How many folks do you usually need to get to some kind of statistical relevance within the localities that you're doing this?
So that would depend on the population for CB12. If
Hey,
it's
Paolo, do you know what our population is for CB12 by any chance?
No.
Damn, me neither.
It's probably on our website somewhere, but no, I don't know it off the top of my
I know the 71st Assembly District has 115,000 people in it. And so we have the 72nd, and that's basically northern Manhattan, parts of Harlem. But I also think that we've got Assembly District 70 as well. I'm gonna guess we're probably looking at between like 500 to like maybe 400, 500,000 people in our CB12 district.
This is saying 2009, but that's
I'll take 2009. What are they saying, 150?
No, this is 209,000, sorry, but this was back
Okay.
in like 2010.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Inwood area has 42,000 residents, just the Inwood area, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, yeah, I mean, it's probably gonna be between like anywhere between like 200 to like 400,000, I'm assuming. That's probably what we're looking at. Yeah, because Inwood's less populous than Washington Heights. That's
Right.
right.
About
Cool.
75 to, in order to make like general statements about the survey and about
Yeah.
overall community perceptions, about 75 to 80% of those people would need to take the survey.
Okay.
If not, if it's below that, then we would consider it like a convenient sample. And so we would say like
Directional.
certain
Yeah.
members. Yeah, we couldn't generalize and say like community members of community board 12 feel this way because it's not a holistic
Right.
number. So at least 75% to 80% we need to take it.
Okay. Well, that's a good goal, but
Yeah, so I guess this is gonna be ongoing for some time. What has your reach been so
is
far?
it though? I thought it was gonna be like only about a month and a half or two.
So about 3 months we have it out.
3
What we
months,
want with
okay.
this survey is for it to happen, the study to kind of be a study that is a continuation. So if we release a survey, let's say April, May
That's
of
good time. People are
2024.
out. You hit up the parks.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
we would do it every 2 years. And so that way, because we would
Okay.
we also do the unlicensed and the licensed dispensaries every 2 years in terms of their locations to update our data on that. So every time we would do the mapping, we do the survey again to make sure that the data and the perceptions align. With Harlem, I want to say we got about 50%. So it wasn't a full, complete sample. So we just considered that a convenient sample. Our hope is that next year when we do the survey again, we'll reach that 70%, but the first go around was about 50%.
Interesting.
Thank you for answering that.
Yeah. And so like when this is really interesting. So 3 months, that's actually kind of good timing for us because if you were going to get started like sometime in April or May, because we go on break in June. So we're off July and August, right? I'm assuming this is also with the collegiate schedule too. So you guys are off in like what, May as well?
In a way,
Also,
I mean, yes and no.
right.
research still happens. So yeah.
Research still happens.
Research still
Okay,
gotta
so that's still
happen.
moving. Because summertime is a great time, as you know, in like the Heights. Like everyone's in the streets, all people are in the streets. If you're doing like in-person surveys, it's great times for us to promote as a community board because we have tons of outdoor events that we throw and stuff. So like the 3 month, oh, because you still need to crunch it. So that would bring you back May, June, July. Because I'm trying to see if you guys would be able to come back with your findings in September when we come back, when we come back in session. Because that'd be a really cool way to kick off the cannabis task force session for the next term. How long does it usually take you guys to crunch the data?
So that one, so our PI, Dr. Haley, and Dr. Andrew, I always butcher his last name, so I won't say his last name. So they handle all of the analyzing of the data. So it takes them about, I would say, a month and a half to really go in
That makes
and
best sense.
get everything together. Yeah.
I used to do market research as a career early in my career. So this makes sense. Okay, cool. So I mean, like if you wanted to, what's up, Jim? If you wanted to, we could say, as we talk to these people, we're going to be presenting our like results in the cannabis task force in September or October. Like we could definitely say that, just like to close the loop on your question, Hector, when we can bring this results back to the community, because that's also gonna be something that we're gonna have to tell the general board. Cool. My survey questions are done in terms of like what they need and stuff. Any other survey questions when we're talking about distribution? Cool. So we already talked about in part, like, let's ask you, what resources do you guys have first to get this out? And then we can talk about what we can bring, build, and supplement.
Yes, so we have our newsletter, which goes out bi-weekly to all of our community partners, our staff and all of that. But mainly to our community partners who come from all different community-based organizations, but then also general community members, which is also where we share our events and other information. And then we also have our social media as well. We also reach out to our community partners personally. We go to events in the community.
And the community partners, like within Washington Heights, for instance, like how, like, do you need us to make you connections there, or do you already kind of have a network there? We can like,
You know, I always appreciate a good connection.
yeah, cool. Because there's like cloth, there's like Inwood Arts, like there's a whole bunch of.
Yes.
We probably have a list of all these people somewhere. Hey, Paul, are you still here by any chance? Is he gone?
In the traffic.
Do we have a list of like partners that community board works with, like local partners at all? All good. Thought I'd give it a shot. No, when she gets back, we'll find out.
Joel has a list.
Oh, really? All right, because also our committee members are on other committees that have probably worked with this list. So we can certainly provide that kind of list for local, like nonprofit organizations like that. Cool. As well as other people that have brought their business, their cannabis business in front of us, who probably have their own lists too.
Yes,
Cool.
yes, and so we have flyers, we have QR codes that folks can scan, to do the survey ticket.
Graphics, Instagram graphics for the survey, Facebook graphics, those things. Cool. So we could like use those and then, put that on our site and also social
Right.
link to your survey. Okay, good.
Right, so we can also collaborate on a flyer, for distribution. If it helps, maybe make a draft and then just share it out with you. And then once you have your okay, you go ahead and it looks good on both ends, then we can move forward with distributing the flyer.
Awesome. Ramon, I saw in the chat that Ramon, you said that you guys could help with distribution as well. It's CB211, you can take off your mic and let us know how you want to pitch in on something like this.
No, absolutely. We basically have all the same distributions that you guys have. We have newsletters, we have our social media, and we can definitely blast it out to people.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, that's good. And then we can certainly provide a list of like local orgs that we work with that they can like distribute through their newsletters. We can put up on our social networks and our website. That's an easy link out to you guys. About people in the streets though, like people going out with the like that's a different kind of resource. How do you guys do that? Like, how have you done that in other areas?
The tabling. Okay, well, I have two thoughts to this, but the first one, being that going in person to the centers, for example, I mean, with their collaboration as well. Like I also have sat down and taken the survey with folks.
Mhm.
So sometimes that's a way to just get it out. Again, just tabling outside, like when people are most likely to be outside.
And would you want those locations from us, or do you guys think that you guys would know the best places? Like Inwood, like ballpark is going to be lit. It's going to be everyone, young, old, whatever.
Again, I will accept the.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right.
Because.
Yeah, definitely reach out because we should be open by the summertime. If we're open by the summertime, you can definitely come by our store and you can definitely just research everybody.
Cool.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
As much as we are definitely coming up with our own ideas about what might be helpful, we absolutely want to hear from y'all,
Cool.
which to be helpful. Yeah, anything that you wanted to add, Tanisha?
Oh, I think you all know the community best. So let us know the hotspots and that's where we'll go. We typically we use our student volunteers. We use community board.
Cool.
Some community board members came out with us to do the surveys. So just let us know the hotspots and we definitely will set up time to get there.
Does CB12 have an events calendar? Like I swear we got an events calendar. Oh, you got an answer for that, don't you? I'm pretty sure we have an events calendar.
He just typed in the chat.
Oh, word?
The Latin Night Market is April 19th. They may want to.
Oh,
If that survey can get up and running by then, yeah, that would be a great place to start. Oh, for local events and stuff?
Yeah.
Sick. All right, well, it just says like it's on the website, like local events and things. That's the first lowest hanging fruit place to start in terms of in person. Digitally linking is super simple. Do you guys also like when you pass out the information like in person, does that also have a QR code to the survey? So people that don't want to do it in person there, they can just like do it later?
Yeah, we definitely prep flyers that have QR codes.
Cool, because that's probably gonna be your best recruiting, is that versus doing it there at the time.
Yeah.
But we can probably talk offline about like your creative suite, like the assets you want us to put up and stuff. I don't think we would need a general board meeting to approve like the use of our newsletter for this, because I mean, when I was on Parks and Cultural Affairs, like when we sent out a newsletter, it
We
wasn't,
just send
we just send it out with this community based. Okay, cool. So we don't even need a general meeting for this. Fantastic. And we can talk offline about what we can do. And meanwhile, I think I need to get you guys a list of our local orgs with their email address. I think we got that. Take a look at the calendar online for local events coming up. And we can see if there's another type of calendar on our end, some things that might not make it. And then offline, maybe like connect you with Cedro too. You think the bid would want to be, if they're working with the Chamber of Commerce and other areas, they probably want to work with the bid. Connect with the Cedro on that. Yeah. Do you guys see yourselves coming back to this meeting next month? And like we can have like an update and stuff? Cool. I mean, not to say you have to come back. It's not like, a summons here or nothing, but like it'd be great to come back because that way we can at least see if we're doing our part to help you guys and getting everything prepared for when you guys hit the market and stuff, just to make sure it's like, seamless. So definitely come back next month. Let's like do an update. I'll like compile some of these things too, and then maybe just hand it over to you during that. That would be in May. It'd be like May 1st, like the first Monday. I don't know if that's too late for you guys, but let me know if there's a timing thing here with the survey, because at that point, y'all can do off to the races, however you want.
I was gonna attend anyway, so.
Cool.
Date.
Ariella knows what's up. Sounds good. Any other questions? Anything I'm missing here on distribution? Like getting the news out there? Anyone have any questions? Sweet. I think this is it. I think that's it. Well, thank you very much for presenting this to us. I mean, clearly we're all pretty psyched about this. You don't need any kind of vote or anything. And let's help you get this distributed. And we'll send you some ideas on the questions. Obviously, committee members, like send me your ideas if you want to add some questions. I don't know if we got this in email yet, their survey. But okay. Yeah, send it out. If you want to send it to me, you have mine. I can send it to the rest of the folks, or send it to the office and the office can send it out. And then we'll send you like maybe in the next week, we can have certain questions if we come up with them, like just to consider for it. And then you can update us if you added any of them next meeting or not. In the meantime, we'll compile that information for you. Sounds good?
Anything you want to add? Anything?
Yeah, Xavier, you've been kind of quiet over there. That's my bad, man.
I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. This is my first meeting.
See, smart people in the room. That's what they do. I get you. Cool. Good. Well, thank you, Tamisha, as well for that info, and Ramon for speaking up. Appreciate that. So I'll move the agenda. We all got lives to get to. So open discussion on application process. Why haven't we received more applications? And if we have to have a convo of scaling the expectations here in early planning, we can do it. But have you guys, one of the things that we brought up in this meeting when we first started was, is there going to be a challenge from landlords in the marketplace to have dispensaries open? We didn't have any applications last month. We didn't have any applications this month. Is anyone hearing why we're not getting to scale as like maybe CB9 is and stuff? I wish like Vladimir was here and Vanessa from Happy Mushrooms. Yeah, thank you, Ramon.
Well, the one thing that's been very difficult in general is finding property. So unless you're like from up here, unless you're like from Washington Heights, you don't know how golden it is up here, right?
Right.
So most people who genuinely already have licenses and already have the car licenses, they go for like the hot spots in Manhattan that, live downtown, right? The heart of the city.
Oh, interesting.
Chelsea,
Yo, I could totally see this happening actually.
Yeah. Everybody's going for the big
right.
foot traffic areas, right? For those big, yeah, but nobody knows about Washington Heights and Dykeman, unless you're like from up here. You hear about Harlem all over the world. Harlem is a famous area ever since the Renaissance, right? But nobody really hears much about Washington Heights and Dykeman. So
that's a really good point, Ramon. I never really thought about it that way, because like when I talk to the colleagues on CB9, down in FIDI and stuff like that, I didn't know that licenses were transferable like that. I thought licenses had to be in like the district that you're in. But if you get a license from Washington Heights as a C card holder, you can open up something in Midtown. Wow.
Correct. So it's based on the borough, not necessarily the area.
Damn, that is really eye-opening for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot, there's a lot going on. It's
because they want to maximize the profit.
Yeah, it's hard to find a landlord that's already cleared, that's already paid off the building. Like, it's a lot to it,
Proximity protected locations for adult use retail. What's this that you put in the chat here, somebody?
I wanted to show this to you all and like maybe pitch something for like the new business piece of this agenda section. I know we're running over on our time a little bit, and I want to honor your guys' time. Since
no, you're good.
Here in person.
No, we can talk about it here. We can merge new business in with this conversation. Simplicity.
So I have here on the screen share the new map that was released by OCM. It is very much a working draft, I would say. I do have this other tab open just because I wanted to point out that, it's updated on a bi-weekly basis. locations here that have pending are going to be reviewed, if not already, to be
Mhm.
granted protection for, the proximity protection. But hold on, here is where, if I could get my mouse to work. So here, in order to have proximity protection, to your point about, scarcity of locations up here in the area, a letter of intent does not
And we
count
talked
as
about
proof
that.
of control. So you need
Yep.
to have a lease secured. So just showing here in our map, I know
Yep.
Vladimir had come over
Those are
here,
the
so that
ones.
location is listed as still as pending, so still under review.
Yep.
So just pointing this out here that you can see like it's very scarce in terms of uptown locations. But if you scroll further down, it's very densely populated.
Damn. They are straight up
So,
trying to maximize
just
a profit, to Ramon's point.
yeah, so just a little bit of a visual here, but I think so I wanted to highlight the distance, but also wanted to propose something for us to work on and maybe,
Yeah.
a working draft, whether it's a letter or resolution to OCM, just because some of the locations that are up here haven't come forward to the board. So
Yep.
I'm not sure how we'd like to address that as a committee.
Yeah, because they said it was
So just-
pending, right? So maybe they're just waiting
Yeah.
for their license. I mean, I feel they'll come to us, but this is amazing. Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
two of them.
Can you
This
just
was
hover
one
over that? Okay, then.
So this one was one that had, I believe they had been on the agenda at one point.
They
but I
were, and they
believe,
took off. Right, right.
Yeah.
And what about
This
the
is
other one
micro
right?
business.
That one,
The
that
one
one's the
up here,
diamond
this
one.
is-
That's Happy Monkey, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's 151. Yeah, that's Vladimir's. And
Yep,
then I
and
remember
that's the Pickney
Sparkle
one.
also came by.
Yeah.
That is on the proximity, is on the protection now, Jordan. He wasn't like a week ago. You
What?
remember the
Yeah,
map?
so because
He's on the map now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you're on the map, you're protected. And then, once it's green, it's basically active and approved license.
Yep.
But because they're on the map, it's under protection. But I don't believe, like, let's say this micro business, I'm not sure if they're having some issues with the lease or what the details
Yeah,
are
yeah.
there,
It might not
but
just be like updated, or might be, communication on the grayer end of things. I mean, this is really cool here. But I mean, I think that, and once we get some more business owners, I mean, like honestly, like Ramon's point really drives home for me, probably the reason why we haven't seen it. And honestly, I'm cool with that, because I think the businesses that we've already approved, once they show a track record up here, I think that people are going to be fighting to get in this community. Just considering all the new residential places going up, this place is, obviously population wise blowing up. So I think it's only just a matter of time, but I honestly think market forces is probably the reason why we haven't seen more come through. I was worried. I was hoping it wasn't like any kind of larger suppression piece, which it still could be. I would love to know about like any kind of like landlord issues or what have you. And maybe we'll talk about that next meeting. But I do think it's probably more commerce based. Maybe something I'll talk to Isidro about. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and,
well,
and just so you guys know, most people who won licenses are not from uptown. So just think about it like that. If you're not from uptown, you wouldn't even think about coming this way.
Wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah,
Shit,
you don't even
man.
know
I'm in the
foot
wrong
traffic.
business, homie. I need to be in the marijuana business.
Yeah.
I get out of marketing. What the fuck am I doing?
We
like,
need you.
yo.
We need you in marketing, bro. We need you in marketing. We need clever ways. We need clever ways of being marketed. You got to remember that. Right
it's
now.
real. It's true, homie. It's true.
Traditionally.
God, Northern Manhattan's a gold mine, but hey, if people don't want to believe it because they don't know it, the smart ones will. All right, good. Look, I think that's really it for our agenda. Does anyone have any new business that they want to bring up? We can get out of here before 7:30. All right, hearing none. Do I have a call for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Anyone want a second?
Second.
All right, second from Hector. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, you guys, for joining the task force. We will see